What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Cruncher YouTube Slate preview show for March 2nd. I'm the Siege. Apologize if my voice is once again hoarse on a Monday. I was at the Honda Classic Sunday. Epic finish yesterday, so don't have much of a voice, but we'll get through this. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like to the channel. It does help us out greatly. We've got 7 basketball games today. Couple big ones, couple kind of just boring ones, but we'll run through them all. We'll start with Utah at Cleveland. Utah 8-point favorites, 220 total here. I think the best play here is probably Rudy Gobert, below 8K, but sadly there's just a bunch of centers that are better than him. I don't mind Jordan Clarkson at getting back to that cheaper price. When he was getting around 5,700, that was a little too much for me, but low fives, upper fours, he's got ceiling there. We've definitely seen that before. Matchup against Cleveland, too, is a good spot for Jordan Clarkson, so I don't mind that. Conley, I don't mind at 5,400, starting to ramp himself up a little bit. Even Bojan, but none of those guys can be really core plays here. This game is kind of just a filler if you need something. Maybe you want to game stack it, that type of deal. 220, though, not exactly the dream total to stack. For Cleveland, no Tristan Thompson, and no Darius Garland still. So that will get us a bunch of Kevin Love and Andre Drummond. They went absolutely bonkers over the weekend against the Pacers. Drummond put up 60, Love put up 40. That's the type of ceiling they've got when they're going to play big minutes together, like we'll see here against Utah. Tougher matchup for Drummond against Gobert, but 8K for Drummond. Getting all those rebounds is still very fair. And Kevin Love, same situation, should be able to stretch out the floor. So I like both those players a fair amount today. The sneaky one, Kevin Porter Jr. with Garland out, he should be locked into 30-plus minutes, and his price is still a little too cheap at 4,900. I like that a lot. Next game, Houston at the Knicks, 230 total. This game is kind of just a play your obvious Houston guys. So for Houston, Harden, Westbrook, Tucker's in play, Eric Gordon's in play, Covington I guess is in play. 62 feels a little rich for me, but he's definitely an option. But Tucker at 3,900 against the Knicks is definitely too cheap. But I love Westbrook. He's been on fire. This new Houston offense is perfect for him. I'm just going to keep rostering him until the price gets to 11,000. It's a good, perfect fit for him. So I like Westbrook a lot. On the Knicks side, this is an Elfrid Payton dream spot. So no rim protection, can attack the rim. The minutes should be there. He's been playing 30-plus minutes a night. Coming off a pretty poor game shooting the ball against the Bulls, which is perfect. Got that price down a little bit, but his ceiling's massive. He's going to play 33 to 36 minutes a night, and he can put up 40 points in this spot so easily. He should be chalk, but I feel like this is the spot where I always love Elfrid Payton, and he's always unowned. So I haven't looked at ownership yet, but I love Elf Payton in this spot. I think it's a no-brainer, to be honest, but we'll see if the field agrees with me. I love Elf at 6,700. Other than that, for the Knicks, you can talk being a Julius Randle, but don't think it's a requirement by any means. I think I would lean Kevin Love. Mitchell Robinson's been a guy I've been playing a lot of. This is just a pretty weird matchup for him. Really no centers to play. He could go off here, but I'm worried about the minutes here, so I'll probably pass on Robinson. But been playing a bunch of him, so I could see maybe in a full game stack playing him as a second piece, but he definitely has some risk with the minutes. Okay, let's move on to Portland and Orlando. Orlando's a 7-point favorite and a 233 total. Hood, Nurkic, Collins, Lillard all still out. So, of course, McCollum and Whiteside are the best options. Their prices are finally now to where they should be just about. Now, the big news here is Anthony Simons is questionable. I think he's going to miss. And if he does, I think Wynn and Gabriel could steal these minutes. So he's coming off a game where he played 18 minutes against the Hawks. And this Magic team's big. I'm not sure that you can get away with Trevor Ariza or Carmelo playing backup 4. So I think Gabriel's the sneaky option. Probably more of a turbo slate guy, but he is a guy that I'm going to be looking at on those super short slates. Gary Trent I like. Trevor Ariza, Carmelo going to play massive minutes. But I definitely think there's going to be a bench Portland guy that goes bonkers today if we do not have Simons today. So it could be Hazonia, could be Nasir Little, but I think it's going to be Gabriel, which I know is a really, really hot take. For the Magic, it's an interesting spot for Vooch. Vooch has done well against Whiteside in his career. I'm going to just show you all the Heat games from past years. So, you can see he's put up some monster games here against Whiteside. I like the spot here too, but Aaron Gordon's just been so hot. It's a little concerning, but Vooch is, again, another strong center play. We have a lot of strong center plays today. And Vooch is definitely the next on that list. Fultz at 53 is getting a little too cheap. He hasn't posted a ceiling game yet in a little bit, but we know it's there, and he's been playing well. So I definitely think Fultz is getting to the point where he definitely is worthy of GPP consideration. Other than that, I don't really see a ton in this game, so let us move on to Memphis at Atlanta. This is the 240 total. Atlanta favored by 2. Basically, the prices on this game are not high enough. Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark still out. Justice Winslow still out. So it's just going to be minutes galore for everyone. Dylan Brooks getting 34 minutes in a 240 total at 5,300 is too cheap. Jonas against the awful Hawks. Front court at 68 is too cheap. John Morant at 7,200 is too cheap. So this is a game where I'm going to have a bunch of players from it. Even Tyus Jones at 3,200 I think has a ceiling as well. So hopefully they don't play like 10 guys or 11 guys this time. They cut it down a little bit to 8 or 9. But all these guys are too cheap. Even Josh Jackson, Melton, Kyle Anderson you could play in your tournament teams. As you can see, just a bunch of 6x values here. They're all underpriced here on DraftKings. Atlanta, more the same situation with Reddish and Dedmon questionable. Capella out. Trae Young, 10-4, too cheap. John Collins, 8,900. I don't play Collins enough. I think that's probably a weakness I should just admit at this point. Like, my first instinct is just no way. But I say that a lot about John Collins. And it's just tough. Like, 1,500 more gets you Trae Young. And it's like he puts up 50 burgers, but, really isn't going to break the slate a ton. But he does put up some nice point totals there. But I think I like Trae Young at 10-4 just a bit more in this spot. Hunter 5,000 I think is a pretty sneaky option, especially just given the total and the situation. He's been playing some good basketball of late. But other than that, like, I'm not going to go to Teague or any of those super value options. Like, Hunter's probably as low as I'm going to go. Yeah, that's as low as I'm going to go. Cam Reddish, I guess if he plays, I would play as well at 4,300. But again, 240 total, playing as many pieces from this game, not the worst idea. Milwaukee at Miami. This total feels way off. 226 feels awfully high for a Bucks Miami game. These teams have played games like in the last year or two that were like 89 to 83. Like, I don't know where this 226 is coming from. So I'm going to have to kind of do some work on the paces of these teams because I must be missing something. Chris Middleton, game time decision. Like, if he's out, Brook Lopez is a nice value. DiVincenzo is a nice value. But this team has so many guys. They're just not playing anyone huge minutes other than really Giannis, Middleton, and Bledsoe. So I'm not going to really force the issue here, especially if I think this total is too high. Like, honestly, if a ton of value shows up, obviously I'll play some Giannis, but I just don't see the point. I think this total is way off. So I'm going to kind of stay away from the Milwaukee side. Same with Miami, to be honest. They're healthy. They're playing a bunch of guys. They got a 9-man rotation right now. I just never know on any given night who it's going to be. So, like, Jimmy Butler at 7,500, I guess is probably too cheap for Jimmy Butler. But, again, like, I just don't really want to be playing a ton of these guys that I just, in a game where I'm not confident that this total is right. Like, I mean, I'll have to look at it again, but this feels off by like 10 points, which obviously it's probably not off by 10, but this feels really high to me. So I'm just going to kind of stay away from this game, watch it, and be pretty curious to see what it happens in the game, because let me just pull it just feels really wrong. So I'm going to stay away. There's a couple other games I really like. So like I like Portland and I like that Memphis Atlanta game. So like, why am I going to just overreact to this game? Dallas at Chicago. Lucas sat out the front of the back. I assume he's going to play the back end. That just makes sense to me. So I'm going to avoid all the other Dallas guys because they're just overpriced. There's if Luka's going to sit. You know, Seth Curry 6,100 is basically a if Luka sits price. So there's just nothing here on Dallas that's worth playing other than, of course, Luka. For Chicago, you know, I just don't really see any value here. They're playing a bunch of different bench guys, trying to get everyone minutes. They're not really playing their starters a ton of minutes. When Carter's back and working up a minutes limit, for me, this is just a situation. Otto Porter's working up a minutes limit. So for me, this situation is a total avoid. They could play up to like 12 guys, 13 guys today. So that's just a situation I have to avoid. See what they're going to do, and then we'll kind of adjust on that. Finally, Indiana at the Spurs. So from the Indiana side, again, I mentioned this for a while now. This is a team I'm just really avoiding. Depot's back. It really just hasn't flashed ceiling for anyone. Miles Turner, I guess, at 5,200 to play, but he's going to be too high owned for my taste. I just don't really see the huge ceiling from him. He's been very inconsistent this year. Big step back from last year. Even the games where he gets to 6x, they're barely 6x. I just not going to touch that type of play when he's going to be popular. A lot of other centers I just like more. And if I'm not going to play him, it's just like everyone else is playing, 18 minutes off the bench, and the starters are playing low 30s minutes, and there's 4 guys with high usage: Sabonis, Brogdon, Warren, Depot, and it's just don't really see the guy who's going to break the slate, especially against the Spurs. Now for the Spurs, different story. LaMarcus Aldridge is out. Jakob Poeltl's out. Trey Lyles is one of the best values on the slate. He'll play 30-plus minutes. Rudy Gay is going to play 30-plus minutes. DeMar DeRozan hasn't had the ceiling game yet without LMA, but it's coming. Well, we did over the weekend against Dallas. I must have missed that one. 27, 8, and 9. So, again, and the price is down. We're to a price where he can win a slate. So, I like DeMar DeRozan a lot. I like Trey Lyles a lot. I like Rudy Gay a lot. Don't mind Eubanks, too, if they go big. If they start Eubanks, I wouldn't mind playing them. But if they start small, I wouldn't touch that situation. But for me, DeRozan and Trey Lyles are just 2 of the best plays in the entire slate. I'm going to have a lot of exposure. Well, assuming I make it to the airport in time, I'm going to have a lot of exposure to these guys. So the studs I like, Westbrook, Doncic, 1-2. Actually, no, Westbrook, Trae Young, Doncic. But all 3 are awesome. So I'll be trying to rotate in as many of those point guards as I can. In terms of the top values, I mentioned Trey Lyles. I like him. This will be a bunch of Memphis guys, as you can see. Rudy Gay, Jonas. It's basically, again, Memphis is just going to pop as a top value. We mentioned that. They're just too cheap. So don't be afraid to get those Memphis guys in your lineup early and often. With that, guys, really appreciate you tuning in to the Monday YouTube stream. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and you know what? We'll do a promo. Leave in the comments section the Grizzly, other than Jonas and John Morant, that you think scores the most fantasy points, eligible to win a free week of Fantasy Cruncher Pro. We'll draw those on Wednesday. Tuesday is my off day, so we'll be back on Wednesday. Again, comment section, Fantasy Cruncher username, Grizzly, not named John Morant, and Jonas, you think scores the most fantasy points. And we'll do a drawing on Wednesday. And with that, guys, enjoy your Monday slate.